First of all, look at how beautiful it is. Wow! Not beautiful this way. I feel so called to share something called self-centered, being self-centered. And I feel a very specific resistance to that because it's been a term that has been used so negatively. And there is good argument in the idea that it is a negative thing to be self-centered. However, my question is, what else would you be centered on? Like, I think that we have been taught so specifically that being only concerned with yourself is a bad thing. And I do agree that being only concerned with yourself is not a positive thing. But unless you can find your center within yourself, you won't be able to find an aligned life. You just won't. Because if you're constantly trying to align yourself with things around you or people around you, you're never gonna know what your true north is, what your direction is. So I say this year, I have a hesitation in starting something that is called self-centered. But it is the only thing that has continually been circulating in my sphere and in my brain and in my heart. I have spent the last 7 years learning how to be in my center and in my center of self, home within myself. And I think it's so important. Look how pretty it is. I know I already did that, but I mean, the only reason that I was able to travel the world and move to LA by myself and not completely suffer while I was doing it is because I had found this home within myself, because I had found my center of self, and I found how to love my life in the little moments and in the moments that weren't quite so beautiful and that weren't so nice all the time. Because life isn't always like the highlight reel that we see on social media. A lot of the time it's just kind of neutral, and a lot of the time it can be really hard. So how do you continue to love, to be content? It doesn't even have to be love, it doesn't even have to be joy. These big emotions, those are the extremes. You have joy on one side and you have sadness, you have sorrow on the other side. So if the extremes of life are joy and sorrow, but we spend a lot of our life oscillating between the two and living in the middle of them, how do we enjoy all of it? How do we find the peace and the contentment with all of it? How do you find the balance between the two? The only solution I've come up with is to find that center of balance within yourself, to find what that feels like. Not what it feels like for somebody else. So even as I share my experience, it's going to be different for you, and it's going to be different from another person who watches this video. So maybe being self-centered isn't such a bad thing, and maybe my fear of starting something called self-centered is exactly the reason that I need to do it. Those are my river thoughts today. They're skateboarding and having a good time. Anyways, I'll take one more quick little view of this beautiful river here in LA and take a deep breath and